Welcome to thestockminer.com. I'm your stockminer Brian Johnson, and we had kind of another sideways day as the markets kind of decide which way to go next. Same thing, different verse, guys. Here we are in a consolidation. We see S&P and Nasdaq were up for the day, down. Dow was down ever so slightly, but it usually is the lagger, so not a big deal. Watching that S&P and Nasdaq. Okay, what can we gather from the move we saw today? Well, we did not get a decent break below this 11.3 mark. We didn't actually even get below the 11.325 area today. So lots of different ideas can be thrown around. We're just going to continue to wait for those breaks. We're still waiting for this 11.325 and or 11.300 for the more conservative if you're going to take that break. Above here, 11.450. If we move on to the daily, you'll see we tagged that top yesterday, came down, and I said, yeah, I mean, everything looked good. Internals looked good. It was a nice day in the afternoon for the bears. They seem to be having their way. Now, at the end of today, yeah, internals were a little bit more neutral on everything. So still no real direction here in the markets. But as you can see, the daily is moving not backwards, but sideways. Sideways, yes. So this usually makes for the start, or at least the potential for a high base formation. We've seen lots of those in the past over in this area. Now we're seeing it here again, getting very, and even more definite each day that passes, where this thing hangs around in this particular range. That's exactly what the bulls want to do. The bears are helpless at this point to do anything about it. But if we can get back below that 11.350 or 11.300 area, look for this 11.200 to hold. I really like this area back here as lower support. Moving on to the Nasdaq, you can see that it was up today. But overall, no real big moves. Now, there's going to be... See, I love the fact that the bears were able to take this and move it back down, but no confirmation today. I really like to wait for confirmation. I didn't get it. Now, the move up today wasn't necessarily strong by any means. Wasn't like the bulls just took over and started driving the thing up. But, you know what? They did a pretty good job most of the day keeping this thing chugging towards the upside. So we will have to wait another day to see if we get the break of the areas we're watching. Nasdaq did hold right at the 2200 level. So we will wait to see if this thing can continue its tromp upwards, or is it going to fall down here and break this level. If it does, be looking for potential shorting opportunities. So far on the daily, though, you see the move up, the gap up, run down. Now back to kind of square even today. I think it was the strongest mover, being up about 11 points by the end of it. All, it was 11 points here on the NDX. The regular composite Nasdaq was up about 10 points, so they're about equal. For the most part, as you can see, a lot of the strongest Nasdaq stocks staying with and in parity with the other Nasdaq, with the CompQ. All right, weekly, we're still waiting, but look. Oh, might want to squeak its way a little bit higher here. Could be looking at finishing a little bit of a move to the upside. This is why the next few days are going to be very critical to the markets. Are we going to head down right away, or are we going to go ahead and kind of stall up here a little bit? Maybe look for some higher volatility coming into next week, which would then be options expiration week, and that would be a very possible scenario. SPX on a 60-minute as well. We saw the gap up, move down, and no confirmation today. Kept waiting for these lower areas to be broken. Nothing. Had a hard move down into 1219 and then the big bounce, and it did nothing but bounce upwards all day long. So, still looking good from a bull standpoint here as it holds the market in the higher areas. Staying above 1227-ish. That was my area to be watching as we bounce around this area here. But I'm still very cautious within 1230 to 1230 to 1230, I'd say 2-ish area. Really, those larger areas of 1235, 1240 are my larger overhead areas. So if we can get up above this 1230 area and keep chugging upwards, 1235, 1240, still my bigger area to watch this particular move and for then the larger pullback to take over. SPX daily, same type of thing here. Look, we're holding within this range. Remember where we held up here? Now this one resolved downwards. We're back in that range, kind of holding this range. Bulls want to push that up this time and not let the bears drag it down. And so far, so good. It is back up and above this particular area. From the, let's see if I can get this thing to move on to the next one. SPX Weekly, going to wait, of course, but still holding nicely above all these overhead areas. VIX on a daily was down, as would be expected. Now, we had the gap down run up on the VIX, and look what we're still continuing to hold. We saw the gap down run up. We've seen punches of this area. We saw the gap down run up, and it is still continuing to hold this 1750, 1775-ish area within the VIX. It still tells me there is no big momentum with fear in the markets themselves as they hold in these lower areas. However, it is more apparent that as we get deeper into the VIX, that is lower in the VIX, that volatility is starting to come back in a little bit. So markets are not worried, not real worried overall, but there is a panic factor as the VIX hits these lower levels. Something to definitely watch over the next few days. Keep that on your chart for sure. VIX on a weekly, same thing. We're going to wait to see where this thing closes ultimately, but markets push themselves up. This thing could see this lower green line before it's all over with. Back into the falling wedge that we've been watching for a year. Quite a long time. Apple 60-minute broke the blue line once again, coming back to retest. You can see this thing holding nicely. Will it continue its tromp up? You want to wait till it gets over 322, guys. Be very, very careful down in here. Had a beautiful test of the 50. A run up the rest of the day, making for great intraday trading again on Apple, as it was in the markets. There was definitely trading to be done in the markets as well, both up and down. But you can see it touching or wanting to touch the underside of that blue line. Will it hold this time? Or is it going to give way to Christmas pressures and see higher prices? Watch it closely above 322, guys. That's where I would have all you Apple gazers with your focus. 322, will it hold? Will it hold that area? Apple Weekly, same type of thing, just moving sideways still. More bullish than anything in the shorter term. So as long as it holds up there, it's doing very, very well, much like this consolidation we watched back here, only in a much tighter frame. Notice how we're sticking in a much tighter area here. Okay, FAS on the 60-minute. Here it was. Big move down, move back up, right into overhead resistance again. Bank's still looking pretty good here, and looking like maybe they want to complete some sort of a smaller wave to the upside, maybe break this area up here. Continue to tell you to watch these areas at, let's say 25.50 tomorrow for a trade, but you got to be careful. This thing is starting to get a little bit extended up here, and after 25.50 it could turn at any second after that. So if you're going to get in, 25.50 is probably your best option, but you're going to want to keep stops kind of tight as it pushes its way upwards and just protect your profits on this last little surge. I don't like playing these last pieces of waves as they complete themselves, and I think that's what we're in right here. It looks very, very clean to me that we're in the finishing stages before a drop. That could come tomorrow, could come next week. We just don't know yet. I'm just going to tell you to be continually cautious. Bullish, but cautiously bullish. So here we are again, right back to these overhead areas. Banks looking very good and doing much better than the other markets are doing, so looks like they might want to complete that, maybe even tomorrow morning. And FAZ, of course, then falling to the downside, getting at, not quite, below that 1050 area. Did close there today. And that would have been my trade for you. You could have taken a little bit more speculative trade down in this area for the day, but you can see up one day, down the next, and really just kind of opposing candles here. I'd really rather you wait for a bigger break below that 1050 area. Below 1020 is by far your better entry, but you're playing roulette here, guys. You're just spinning the wheel, hoping for the best down in these areas. I don't like playing these last little teeny bits of moves. Be very cautious if you're an FAS/FAZ player. If you're going to get in, great, have at it. I don't care if you play it long or short, but if you're going to play it short on the FAZ or long on the FAS, you make sure and keep those stops tight and protect your profits. Any little bit up there is good, and at any time it could turn and reverse on you. You do not want to get caught in that with that kind of a problem. All right, that'll do it for today's video. I'll be back with you tomorrow. Watch these levels closely. Now, the Dow held beautifully to the 20-period moving average. Best thing for it to do would be to see a gap tomorrow and get up and above those areas again, kind of run its way up. As long as it'll hold this 20-period moving average, it's good for the bulls. And we could see that extra push up that we had been, kind of kicking back and forth, but I think some confirmation will come with that. I did not get confirmation on that bear move. Loved what I saw yesterday afternoon. Internals look good. Thought good potential for a gap down today. We did not get it. That means the bulls are not gone yet. So, wait for the breaks of these levels I've been giving you. It's the most and safest way to trade right now. If you're not absolutely sure of what you're doing, it's the best thing to do. Okay, catch you guys tomorrow night. Bye.